So obviously at this time of year, it's sort of coming out of the back end of winter, sort of spring, and now heading into summer. So what's if I were coming in and ask you, what sort of boot should I be looking for this time of year?
Yeah, for us, there's probably a key factors that we want to be making sure that customers are giving us information about, so making sure that we know what kind of terrain they're going to be traversing. Obviously with the weather at the moment, you'd want to have a dry environment, so making sure that you've got an excellent boot with waterproofing capabilities to it. With us, we have all of our boots have Gore-Tex lining, which is an amazing collaboration that we have with LOWA and Gore-Tex.
Cool. So if I was sort of like maybe just hunting lowlands, sort of not too steep a country, rolling country, sort of farm type hunting, what boot would you recommend for that?
Yeah, depending on what kind of hunting you're doing, there's probably a couple of options that I can suggest. First of all, you want to think about the flexibility in the boot and what kind of stabilizer that you need in it. So if you're going to be traversing terrain that might tend to have a bit of a rocky surface, bit of tricky terrain, but still kind of getting there with some rolling hills, you would go for something like our Ranger boot. It has a flexible kind of mid-level stabilizer in it, so it's able to give you a bit more flex when you're on those rolling hills, but if you hit any kind of rocky terrain, it also has the stability enough to make sure that you're not fatiguing on those types of surface, and having the ability to use it as a step and leverage. So that's something that I would use for something that you want more of a multi-purpose boot. Excellent full round on it, so if you're hitting the areas where you've got any scree or rocky surfaces, you're not going to tear up the sides of your boots. If you're wanting to do something multi-purpose where you're doing a bit more stealth hunting and you're wanting something a bit more flexible and quiet, I would suggest something like our Z6 or Z8. Z6, just a lower version. Obviously gators can come across, but if you just want something that is quite high that's going to protect you from any kind of scrub or bushes, then you can go for our Z8. So essentially this has the same stabilising system as what we've got in the Ranger, except because of the monoframe wrap sole on this one, you tend to get quite a nice flex in that boot. So excellent for somebody that's going to be in your more low-level tree hunting, nice and quiet underfoot, great weight, but also really stable and flexible, particularly. So that would be your Z6. That's what I would use in most times.
What about if I wanted to take it to the next level?
If you're going somewhere really nice and hearty and needing a really gruntier boot, at the Seek Show this weekend we've got a couple of options. So we've got our tried and true Tibet, which is probably our top selling hunting nearing boot that we have, and then also, which is an exclusive to hunting and fishing, is a High Country Evo. Main differences between the two boots, if you're wanting like a really good determination, so stabilizer wise, they've got the same DNA. Where the High Country sits at a bit more of a comfort level is that we have a alpine lacing system, as well as floating eyelets. So this gives you really good flexibility in the upper, because you can imagine that it's got quite a stiff sole. You want to try and give yourself as much comfort in the upper level, and the extra design features that we've got in this really provide that for you. Also has the added bonus of having a higher rubber band to it, so excellent boots for those alpine mountaineering trips that you're going to be heading up.
Awesome. So what about boot care? What about, because the guys knock the boots around pretty hard, sort of coming back from a hunt, sort of what are your sort of tips and tricks on boot care?
Yeah, so for me, because it's quite a hefty, large investment that you're providing in your boots, always make sure that you're looking after that investment. So with LOWA, we have our own care range. We have an active cream, a water stop and a shoe clean. So if you're going out on a multi-day hike and hunt, the best protocol that we like to say is that make sure that when you come back, a full clean would be cleaning all the muck off the outside of the boot, making sure you're scrubbing it all down. Really handy to have like a nice big bucket that you can actually dunk them into, because you're wanting to make sure that you clean the inside and the outside of the boot. So shoe clean first, give it a good spray over, make sure that you're dunking the inside and outside. Once it's in that kind of damp state, the best time to add your care products, so your active cream and your water stop, is when it's in that damp stage. Reason being is because the pores of the leather, think of it like your skin, are nice and open, so it really opens up those pores to make sure that your cream and your water stop are penetrating that leather. Once all your care products are added into it, we just get you to dry them naturally, so not next to a nice toasty hot fire, not in the back of your hot ute, and not in direct sunlight. I know you might be eager to get out there on the tracks again, but make sure that they're dried carefully and out of direct sunlight. If you've got boot dryers, they're generally okay to use, just as long as it's nice and clear and aerated. So once they're nice and dry, whack in some more active cream, pop them away in a nice aerated area, ready for your next hunt. And then before you go out on your next hunt, make sure that you're putting some more extra active cream into it. Keep that nice and subtle. Like us, you're going to go out and make sure you've got sunscreen on. You want to make sure that you're protecting your boots.
That's absolutely awesome. Well, there we have it. That's it from the technical expert over there, Ange, at the LOWA stand here at the Seeker Show.